Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Sandy from I Hope Diverse Beauty. I hope my diverse beauties are having a lovely day, and if you guys are new to my channel, I'm Sandy. I make K-beauty content as well as just beauty content on my channel, lifestyle videos, as well as sharing my life experience living abroad. So today I'm going to be comparing Korean foundation versus American foundation. Now, if you guys know, there's always pros and cons between Korean foundation and American foundation. There are some really obvious ones, and then there's other ones where you're just kind of like, okay, I guess so, you know? So of course, finally I was able to find like the right foundations that I can compare each other. So I got the Hera Black Foundation as the Korean foundation and the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter as the American foundation. Now, I specifically chose both of these because they're both soft matte foundations, so that's perfect. I feel like a lot of the times Korean foundations tend to be more on the dewy side. Is that a word? Dewy side. So I am glad that I could finally find one that is soft matte so that I can compare both of them. For the Hera foundation, it is considered a soft matte that's supposed to give you 24-hour long-lasting coverage, and they came out with a pretty, I guess, wide, quote-unquote wide selection for Korean foundations. They range from, I believe, 13 to 31, and they have different tones as well as like cool tone, neutral, and warm tone. And I believe their deepest shade is 31 and it's considered tan, and then 25, which is amber. And both of those come, I believe, in neutral only. Now, on the other hand, Fenty Beauty is also a soft matte foundation. It's supposed to give you matte coverage, but still very, I guess, lightweight skin-like texture, and it actually comes with a very large range of shades. I believe 50 or more now, because they have included a few new shades. So yeah, there's definitely a lot more shades between this American foundation versus the Korean one. Also, there is a big difference between their prices. The Hera one is 60,000 won, which is about $60, and the Fenty Beauty one is about $35. So Fenty Beauty is definitely almost half the price of the Hera one. For the Hera one, I got 25 neutral, and for the Fenty Beauty one, I got it in 210, which is also a neutral shade. Now let's start off with what I think about the Hera foundation. Now, immediately when I applied the Hera foundation, I realized that it has very matte coverage. It was really surprising to me because like I'm not used to seeing matte foundations like Korean foundations. So when I was trying to like spread it out, I realized like, oh god, it's drying very quickly. So that's something that you have to consider about the Hera foundation, is like, girl, you got blend quick before that like settles down and just does not budge. It is considered a soft matte, but personally I feel like it is not a soft matte. It's quite matte on my skin. Now luckily, since it is spring summer now, I am getting oily in my T-zone, so that's something that you know, kind of helps out with the skin not looking so dry, but still like it's a very matte formula. I've tried this a couple of times. I tried it for an event that I went to. I tried it just hanging out with friends. So I will show you guys how this foundation worked on my skin throughout the whole day, and as well as I asked a friend of mine her opinion and what she thinks. So let's start. Hey guys, so right now I am with
Becky here.
Oh, where are you from?
So I'm from the States, I'm Korean, and I'm working here now doing content creation.
So you probably know her from my video with Erica that we did. So we did like the 3 photographers doing 1 model kind of thing, right? But yeah, so my question today is, what do you think about my foundation?
Okay, you know, it's funny actually because I knew you were gonna ask me, but then I forgot you were gonna ask me. And then when I saw you and you came into the restaurant, I thought that your foundation looked really nice. Like, and the thing is, I didn't even think of it as foundation.
Oh really?
Like, I was just like, oh gosh, your skin is so good today.
Ooh,
like your skin is always good, but it had like this like kind of
like almost like a filterness, like, right?
I think that's the right word.
I feel like I'm walking with a 24-hour filter right now.
Yeah, it's so, just, it like sits really smoothly on. Like I don't know how to say it in English, but like in Korean, people talk about right? Like
like it eats it well.
Yeah, Like it really absorbs it well. So I think it went on really smoothly, and it matches your skin tone really nicely.
Okay. And then what do you think about like you know, because certain foundations get into the lines, and you're just like, it's looking rough. So
like creasing.
Yeah. Is it creasing a bit?
Not too much. Just a little bit right under the eyes.
Okay.
But I think that's not really the foundation, but more like moisture. And right now, because today is a really like kind of a drier, hotter day. Okay. That could be part of it. Okay. But it's nothing I immediately noticed until you pointed out to me.
And then like the color of my face and body. What do you think? Wait. Let me just get naked here.
It's pretty close.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's a little darker here. But it's not like a significant difference.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's hard also to match like your face to your chest area. Like,
do you think this is the Korean foundation or the American foundation?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Is it American? Is it American foundation?
Should I tell you now?
I honestly don't really know. Yeah, tell me.
This is the Korean foundation. Yeah.
Oh, are you using a cushion?
No, it's a foundation. Their new one.
I never use foundation. I'll use cushion.
Ooh, really?
Okay, this is actually really nice.
Yeah? Okay.
I'm always worried like foundation's too thick. That's but this is really good.
Okay. Yeah. Well, next time I'll wear the American one and see what happens. So, thank you.
Alright, bye guys.
Hey guys, so I just got home and it's been maybe like 8 to 10 hours since I put the foundation on, and I haven't retouched. I haven't done anything except for retouching my lipstick, and that's it. So today the weather was a bit on the warmer side. I did feel a bit of some sweat coming on in certain spots, but this is what my skin looks like after a long day. I put my ring light so you guys can see, but as you can tell, it's oily in certain spots, and yeah, it's looking kind of oily, girl. I'm looking a little oily, but the foundation actually just stayed, like my blush is still there, like everything is pretty good. Like it looks the same, just oily on the T-zone, on the cheeks, on the chin, and yeah, looking good. I'll definitely have to say that I think number 25 is slightly too pink and slightly a bit darker than my skin, but as you can tell, like it looks pink and it looks yellow, you know what I mean? But it's just very slightly darker, so maybe in the summer it would be better, but right now, since my skin is still kind of on its winter skin tone, it's slightly darker. But yeah, that's what I got from my whole day use of this foundation. I've used it before, and I've had similar like I guess situations with it, but today is the first time I've used it for a very long period rather than just using it for a couple hours. But yeah, that's what I think. Now, as you can tell from the video, the foundation did quite well throughout the day. It was very matte coverage. It looked great. I honestly felt like I was walking with like a filter on my face. Like that's how nice and how smooth my face looked, and my pores looked pretty decent, especially like I was surprised the formula did not really seep in much into my pores, so I was pretty content. Now, the only problem that I find is that I don't think the shade works perfectly for my shade. The shade, there's something odd about this neutral foundation, is that even though it is neutral, it has like a pinkness to it. Like there's a pink, like almost color to the foundation, which is very odd because I feel like if it's neutral, then why is it pink? Throughout the day, it does start to oxidize a bit, so I realized that the foundation did end up looking a little bit darker than my natural skin. Now, since I still am kind of in my, I guess, winter shade. I'm not really that tan compared to summer. It kind of looks a bit too dark for me right now, but I feel like in the summer it might match my complexion a little bit better. Now, because it is an extremely matte foundation, personally I find it being very extreme on my skin. I feel like it's definitely not for every skin type. Like, it does mention like, oh, it's for everyone, it's all skin type, it's all blah blah, and I'm just like, I don't think so, you know, because it feels quite drying on my skin. Now, like I said, after a while it might mix a bit with your natural oils and you're gonna feel a little bit better on the skin, but I think that if you naturally have very, very dry skin all year round, this is not for you. But if you have normal to combination, even oily, it might be better for you, especially like in the summer when you're just like sweating or you're very oily and you need something to just kind of like mattify you. This is a good option. And also if you live in like a tropical island or you live in an area that's just hot all year round. Now let's go with the very all-time, very famous Pro Filter Fenty Beauty Foundation. Everyone knows about this, of course. It became such a huge like thing I think it was a year or 2 years ago when it first came out. So everyone had to get Fenty. Now, I actually got Fenty like when I was in the States, and so of course I was able to get it swatched at the store and figure out what shade works best for me. Now, originally I think we were gonna go for like, I think it was like 214, or I don't remember the shade exactly, but we ended up going with a 210 because it actually works very, very well for my skin tone. The neutral tone is perfect. It's actually still a little bit warm, but not like warm for my skin. It's just perfect. It's like a good warmness. It's very, very beautiful. It's nice color scheme for my complexion, especially all year round, surprisingly. Well, I mean, winter is a little bit dark for my skin, but for spring and summer it's like the perfect shade. And it is a soft matte, so like it does mattify your face, but it's not a matte that makes you feel like uncomfortable. Now, of course, it's case by case, but in my situation, I felt like it's a matte texture or matte formula that feels comfortable enough for my skin, and I don't feel like it's like sucking the like moisture from my skin. Now, of course, I did a whole all-day review on this video, and I even asked my friend what they thought of it. So let's go into that clip.
Hey guys, so right now we are at Murmur, and I want to ask my friend Claudia what she thinks of my foundation today, and if she can guess if it's Korean or American. So let's see.
It looks really great. I mean, it suits your skin tone really well.
Yeah.
And then it's very natural.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Do you think it like, you know, looks oily or anything?
No, I think it's pretty matte. So I'm guessing it's Western.
Western?
Yeah, because like Korean likes the very glowy and like.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I don't know. I hope I'm right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this one that I'm wearing today, it is Western. Yeah. Can you guess which Western brand?
Can you give me like options? Like 4
Options?
Like, yeah.
Okay. Urban Decay, Chanel, Estee Lauder, and Fenty Beauty.
Is it Fenty Beauty?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
guessed?
I was like either Estee Lauder, the long wear foundations, or the Fenty Beauty, because they're all matte.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. Do you think it like separate or anything?
No, actually.
It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, thank you.
So I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of the Fenty Beauty Foundation. Basically, that's what I wore today, and I've actually wore Fenty Beauty Foundation last year. I bought it like this last summer, and so you know, I have a pretty good grasp on how the foundation looks on my skin and you know how it does. Now based on my experience using this foundation, I did notice that you know it is a bit of a matte foundation, but it's not like a very drying matte, so it's actually quite comfortable, especially during like summer or hot season, and if you live in like tropical weather. Now, of course, one thing that you do have to consider is that as the day continues, the oil will start to seep and come out. So as you could tell, I'm a little bit oily right now on my T-zone, on my chin, and on my forehead. Now that's also sweat there. It's not just oil, but it's also sweat. And also it will oxidize a bit on you. So that's something that you have to consider. It's like a little bit of the oxidation as well as like your oils seeping through after a while. Now, of course, I've been wearing this now for a good maybe 8 hours or so. So of course, that's why I have some oils, but to be honest, the foundation looks really good after so long, and it's actually very comfortable on the skin. Now as you could see, I did ask my friend what she thought of the foundation, and you know, she actually thought it looked really good and the shade matched my skin very well, which is surprising because this is actually my summer shade. Usually in the summer I get a little bit darker, so I was kind of afraid that this foundation would look too dark right now, but I did put lighter concealer on and I kind of worked it around, and I didn't really do a thick layer whatsoever. I actually did quite a thin layer. So yeah, that's what I think about the Fenty Beauty foundation. What do you guys think? So let's talk about the comparison, the differences, the similarities, which one I prefer out of these two. Now, of course, like I said, there's a big difference with the shades. There's a lot more options with the Fenty Beauty. You can find literally from the fairest to the deepest shade, which is amazing because it will fit a lot of different skin tones, which unfortunately the Korean foundation haven't really reached that peak yet. I feel like they're trying, they're coming out with a little bit more shades here and there, but it's still not good enough compared to like American brands where there's a lot more color scheme. So that's something that you have to consider. Now, of course, price difference, like I said, 60, 35. Ooh, 60. As for the formula, even though they're soft matte, I would definitely have to say that the Hera one is a little bit more mattifying. Actually, it's very mattifying to the point where sometimes I feel like my skin feels very dry. So I highly recommend that you moisturize and really take care of your skin before you put this on. I do have another friend who uses the Hera foundation, and she actually mixes it with a little bit of a BB cream and with some moisturizer because she finds it a bit too drying if she uses this on its own. Now, compared to the Pro Filter, I find that this one on its own actually feels very comfortable on the skin. It doesn't feel like super drying, but that's just for my skin. Now, they're both actually neutral, but surprisingly there's a bit of a difference. For the Hera one, it actually has more of a pinkness to the foundation, whereas for the Fenty, it actually has more of a yellow like tint to it, which is actually very surprising because you would kind of expect it to be the other way. You would assume that the Korean one would have a little bit more yellow to the foundation or a bit more warmness, whereas the American one would have a little bit more of a pinkness, but it's not. It's actually the complete opposite, and surprisingly I actually like prefer a little bit more of the yellowness in the foundation, a little bit of the warmness, just because I find it's actually more compatible to my skin tone. I mean, I don't really think like, you know, just because I'm a little bit more tanner compared to Koreans that I have more pink in my skin, which is not the case. Now, I know that in a lot of Korean foundations, they do like to have a little bit of pinkness to the foundation because they find it a bit more brightening to the complexion. But personally, I just find it actually makes me look darker and it just makes me look more dull. So I can definitely tell a difference between them. Like whenever I wear the Fenty one, I feel like my skin looks a little bit more brighter, it looks more lively, whereas when I wear the Hera one, yeah, it looks nice, but it just doesn't look like a great match, and so it kind of gives me a bit of a dullness at times. Now when it comes to oxidation, I will have to say that the Fenty one does oxidize a little bit more than the Hera one. So that's something that you do have to put into consideration, especially when you're trying to find your shade. The Hera one does oxidize, but not that much, whereas the Fenty one does oxidize maybe about 1 to 2 shades more. So that's why I find it's okay for me all year round, because like in the summer, like I do get much more tanner, and so it kind of matches okay when it oxidizes. But then like in the spring or in like the winter season, even if it oxidizes a little bit more, like it's okay. I can like lighten it up a little bit with like some tone up cream or like with my concealer and things like that. Now for the packaging, I definitely would prefer the Fenty Beauty, even though the Hera one is definitely more travel friendly, of course, because it is a plastic packaging, and I guess it's just more convenient. I just like the look of the glass packaging. I know it's not the most travel friendly packaging, but it's just really beautiful, and I like the aesthetic of the packaging more. Now it's really hard to say which one I would choose, just because they're both good. There's both pros and cons between of them. They're both nice on my complexion, but I think if you want to go and walk with like a filter on your face all day, the Hera one is great for that. But if you want, I guess, more of an everyday matte where you can build up and it will look nice, then the Fenty Beauty one. And of course, it has a lot more shades for you to choose from. So if I really have to choose one, it's really hard. I think I would go for the Fenty Beauty, just because it's a lot more affordable. It gives me that soft matte that I like if I want to, you know, give my complexion a bit more flawless complexion. Plus, the shade fits me a lot better. It has a bit of, even though it's a neutral shade, it still has a bit of more yellow undertone to it. So it matches my skin complexion a lot more. And I don't know, I just find it a lot more breathable, you know? Like the Hera one is really nice, it's very beautiful, but I feel like my skin just feels a little bit too dry with this foundation. So yeah, the Fenty Beauty will win for me. It's a winner. Now, of course, I love them both. I'm so excited to continue to use them, especially the Hera one, because it's a new baby. It's a new one in the collection. But if you guys had to choose between the Korean foundation or the American foundation, which one would you guys choose? Let me know, and comment below which one do you think matches me more, Hera foundation or Fenty foundation. As always, don't forget to join the Diverse Beauty Squad. So hit that notification button and hit that subscribe button and comment below. And of course, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!